So Dan Hooker will be fighting Matus Gamrot at UFC 305. Pretty good fight. Here are my thoughts. So this fight isn't like I say it's interesting. I'm not really sure it's going to be incredibly interesting. Most UFC fans and MMA fans, all of us really know that Matus Gamrot is kind of a crotch sniffer. He loves to wrestle. He likes to stay on the ground. He's got great grappling. Um, and this fight against Dan Hooker, I would only say it's good because, these are two well-known fighters. They're bound to meet up. It's lightweight, everybody's trying to fight to the top. So it'll be an interesting one. If I had to choose and make a direct choice, I would definitely go with Matus. And I go with Matus again because he's got that grappling fighting style. And right now in the UFC, it's quite frankly unbeaten. We just saw the Arman Tsukarian Charles Oliveira fight, and Charles was great. Great striking. Okay, actually no, wasn't incredibly great. He was a little bit lazy with the striking. He was very hesitant, but again, Arman was able to take it to the ground and grapple, which a lot of these, like Eastern European fighters do. A lot of them really like to grapple. They like to take the fight to the ground, especially when they're losing on the feet. And I feel like this fight will start out, again, it'll start out like most fights. It'll start out on the feet. And I feel like Matus is going to be able to take it to the ground. He's going to be able to get those takedowns in, and he's just going to make the fight his fight. He's gonna get a lot of control time, spend a lot of time on top of Dan Hooker, maybe try to search for a submission, and he might just get it. The game plan for Dan Hooker has to be to keep this fight on the feet. He's got to keep it on the feet. He's pretty good with the striking, and he's just got to look to either, batter Matus up for fucking, all the rounds in this fight, really just piece him up, or, search for a knockout. I don't think he's going to get it. Matus, again, he's one of them grappling types, man, and I feel like that's just a fighting style that, again, it's becoming more popular. It's incredibly successful, and it's taken names like Aljamain Sterling and Merab Dvalishvili, and it's taken this fighting style has taken those names to the top, man. If you got somebody with a great gas tank, he's got solid grappling know-how. He'll be able to take the fight to the ground whenever he wants. Unless you've got like a real headhunter. You got somebody with a lot of power, a lot of precision, somebody like a Ilya Taporia, maybe even a Max Holloway or an Alex Pereira. In all of those different divisions, somebody who would be able to beat those grappling types has to be somebody with precision and power and a fuck ton of both. And I don't really see that in Dan Hooker. I love Dan Hooker. I really enjoyed his fight against Jalen Turner. Again, Jalen Turner is such a lazy fighter. It was really just embarrassing for him. And Dan Hooker just, fought through the damage. I think Jalen Turner landed a head kick that cracked Dan Hooker's skull or some shit, and Dan was still fighting, man, So Dan's a tough cookie. He'll be a tough cookie in this fight. I think he's going to have some good... he's just got to fucking spam takedown defense in his fighting camp. He really does. He's got to fucking spam that defense. He's gonna have to fight Gamrot with those takedowns, and if I'm being completely honest with you guys, he won't be able to. Gamrot's gonna find those takedowns. He's gonna get them, and he's gonna spend most of this fight on the ground. They'll likely be booing because no fucking action will be happening. It's just gonna be Matus, working on positions on the ground and trying to sneak his way into a submission, which may not happen given depending upon how strong Dan Hooker's submission defense is. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he'll train takedown defense and he'll train grappling a lot to the point where he'll be able to have, some adequate takedown submission defense. But again, I don't think it'll be enough. I really, quite frankly, don't think it's going to be enough. Again, interesting fight because, lightweight is an interesting division. It's a fun division filled with fun and entertaining fighters. So, I don't think this will be the most entertaining fight, but it's two pretty well-known names that are going to go head-to-head, and, people just got to strive for that title fight. They got to strive for the belt. So, if I had to give you guys a, concrete decision, a concrete prediction, I'm going to go with Mateusz Gamrot winning. You know, when I started this video, I was going to say that Mateusz would win by submission in maybe one of the later rounds, probably the last round. But I'm going to go and say, definitively, I don't think I'll make another video on this. I'm going to definitively say that Mateusz Gamrot will win by unanimous decision. I'm going to say it's a unanimous decision, depending upon the scorecards. You know, I think Dan Hooker will be able to land some stuff. I don't think it'll be enough to, you know, to knock Mateusz down or to startle him or make Mateusz respect his power. I think Mateusz Gamrot is going to keep going, keep, you know, walking forward, searching for those takedowns and get a lot of them, and he'll win off that. I think the judges are going to weigh those takedowns and the control time heavily to the point where Mateusz will win by decision against Dan Hooker. I don't think Mateusz will find his submissions. I think Dan Hooker will come in with good enough submission defense to stay in the fight, and that'll be that, you know. So I'll give this one to Mateusz, and we'll see how high he goes up the lightweight ladder. Anyway, that's my take. What do you guys think?